All right, I think we're on. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to something that, for the first time ever, God, I hate when WWE says that. We've decided to do a live stream a little bit before WrestleMania. As you can see, sitting around the house, giving my homage to the dead man here. May AJ rest in peace, although it didn't look like it with his hand popping up. This is our wrap up slash pre WrestleMania Day 2 special. I am your host, the South Philly Sycho. We've got a lot of stuff in group that we were discussing that people were asking us about. And I just thought, you know what? What the hell? Yeah. I also got a Stone Cold homage going on at the moment. I thought, why not just come on, answer some of these questions, give you an idea of what I or we as a show feel will happen tonight on day 2 and just having fun with it. Why the hell not? I've never done this before. Let's try it. Maybe it'll be great. Maybe it'll suck. I don't know, but we're going to find out together. Let's see. Looking at Top Rope Wrestling Talk on Facebook, one of the first questions that pops up is from last night. How long do you think Braun Strowman will hold the Universal Championship for? I got to be honest with you. This comes from Hope. Hi, sweetie. How you doing, chicken? Hope you're well in the UK. I got to be honest with you. It's hard to tell, and not because gimmick wise, like I don't believe that they're going to possibly, push Braun Strowman or make him back into a monster, or Roman's going to come along and take his title immediately, like next Friday. But there have been conflicting reports. Some of them saying that WWE will suspend all broadcasts, including NXT, after WrestleMania due to all the COVID-19s, the stay-at-home laws, the shutdowns, the quarantine, basically. And if that happens, I mean, he could hold it as long as that quarantine lasts, but it doesn't really mean much since he can't defend it. It could be as simple as, when WWE does come back, or when this quarantine ends and everything goes back to normal, possibly like SummerSlam, for instance, he could get in a match with Roman, lose it immediately. He could be a placeholder. He most likely is. And on a side note, this is not going to be breaking news to anybody, but that match with Goldberg was just, oh my God, like worse than I could have possibly imagined. Like, if there was a crowd, this is all you would have heard. The entire time. And by entire time, I mean 5 minutes in the battle of one move. It was painful to watch. Not that WrestleMania Night 1 wasn't good. They had at least 3 or 4 matches on that card that I really loved, and we'll probably get into that too, depending on how many questions I get or how many questions we have. So I'm just going to jump into the next topic and hope we get something that's a little bit better. See what I did there? Hope asked. I'm hoping. Ba-doom-ch. Oh my God. How do you feel about Rob Gronkowski hosting? Oh, are you guys just setting me up to be miserable? I think there was a meme that summed it up perfectly that said, this is what happens when you snort Mountain Dew and coronavirus. And it had Rob Gronkowski standing next to Mojo. I mean, Gronk was a great football player, tremendous tight end, freak athlete. As far as wrestler or WrestleMania host, dud, absolute dud. I mean, even when he took, I don't know what was worse, the Strowman Goldberg match or Gronk taking the 24/7 championship from my man R-Truth, who I love, and I know he's won it like 59 times, and we might see number 60 tonight, but it just didn't feel right. It was like, oh, this is painful. Like, oh no, wait, I'm sorry. Mojo took it back. Thank you. Mojo ended up taking it back as Gronk tried to take it, and that wasn't so bad. But even then, it was like you got the hype bro back, you got this dancing crap. I didn't get it. I didn't like it. I'm hoping to God that it's better tonight. It probably won't be. Let's get to the next question. Let's find something decent. Oh, this is a good one from John. It's if you could hang out with any wrestler for one day, who would it be? Not exactly WrestleMania related, because my answer, if you can see the shirt, and I know my lighting sucks, I'm sorry, it is the one, the only, the breaker of bones, Pentagon Jr., baby. And I'm hoping if I get to meet Pentagon, it means I get to meet Phoenix too, because that dude's a badass. So that would be my answer. If you've got one, please comment over here, leave it below. Do whatever. Come to our group on Facebook. Answer the question yourself. It's right there, plain as day. But yeah, Pentagon Jr. for sure. Raise your hand if you enjoyed the Boneyard match. Yes. Yeah, I'm not going to give you the DDP, but yes, or the AJ style. But yes, fuck yes. I enjoyed the hell out of that. And I know there were a lot of people, including me, who said it may have been some type of ripoff or made you feel like those Hardy compound matches. Pick one. But it's hard to knock it because it was an amazing, cinematic, wonderful piece of art, basically, at the end of a WrestleMania, especially after that god-awful Universal title match. If they would have ended it there, the night would have just felt like a flop. But once they got into that Boneyard match, it was like, oh, this is interesting. And as it went on, you kind of saw this, I guess the unholy trinity that The Undertaker was talking about was that inside him were like his three gimmicks, you know, his original dead man, his American badass, and then the resurrected Undertaker after Kane had buried him years back when he was still a biker. I love that the entire time, and I know this has been reported, almost the entire time that he was fighting or in a ring or cutting promos, he was wearing that same black do-rag bandana that he was wearing in the crowd at UFC when he told Brock Lesnar, let's do this. I thought that was kind of a nice, nifty twist. It was put together beautifully. It was executed beautifully. I'm pretty sure the idea was mostly Triple H and Michael P.S. Hayes. But also remember, if you're thinking this is a Hardy compound spoof, one of the guys that helped to write and create and produce those segments was Jeremy Borash from TNA Impact Wrestling. He now works for WWE. And if Matt Hardy can get away with saying he can take the broken gimmick from Impact because it was his intellectual property, I kind of feel like Jeremy Borash could do the same. So before you knock it, just think about that for a minute. But that was a great question. It was a great match. It was pulled off very nicely. And to those who say or try to clump the Undertaker in with guys like Goldberg and say he's too old, he can't do it anymore, whatever. Watch that. You know, I'm not saying he could be a full-time in-ring competitor, but he's also not Goldberg. He's not a part-timer who needs to be champion, who's going to give you one move in a match 4 or 5 times and walk out 5 minutes later and take a big check and then go home with a title on his shoulder. He's never going to do that because The Undertaker spent all those years basically being the flagship. They've talked about this on like documentaries in the WWE on the WWE network. The franchise of WWE for the longest time was The Undertaker, just like Sting was basically the flagship guy, the franchise of WCW. They never went anywhere. They did anything they were asked to do, and when they did it beautifully. And a lot of that is still left in him because he's worked hard to keep it. He was not in the best of shape when he debuted. He is in better shape today than he was back in the 90s when he did. He works damn hard to give you what he can give you, and he still got it. So don't put him in with guys like Goldberg because he doesn't have that ego. He's way better in a ring. He's probably been trained 100 times more and trains 100 times more today on different things than Goldberg ever did. So don't do that. Don't. It's insulting to the dead man after everything he's given us. This man wants to write the end to his own story. Let him do it. He earned it. Moving on. Let's see what we got next. What did I think of WrestleMania at night one as a whole? Um, I mean, first thing that jumps out in my head was Kevin Owens beating Seth Rollins not once, but twice. And that crazy dive off the WrestleMania sign, screaming, "You want a WrestleMania moment, Seth?" That was amazing. I loved it. Kevin Owens has always been a tremendous talent. I know people love him. I have a brother-in-law who is obsessed with him. It was great to see when they restarted that match. I thought Seth was going to beat him, and that really kind of brought the mood down for me for a minute until I saw the rest of it play out. So it was like a momentarily really, and then all of a sudden, yay! So that was a feel good moment. The ladder match, which I didn't understand going in, but honestly, they were painted into a corner where Miz is sick. So now Morrison is defending the tag titles in a ladder match against Jimmy Uso and Kofi. And that ladder match was just insane. I mean, those guys went all out, put it all on the line. And I don't think I've ever, and I mean ever, seen an ending of a ladder match like that before in my life. And I've been watching wrestling since before the ladder match was even brought into WWF. The way Jimmy and Kofi had hold of the actual hanger, if you, I guess, that the titles were on, and Morrison had the titles, and when they chucked him, Morrison ripped the titles off and fell all the way, into a ladder onto the ground, but he had the titles in his hands. So guess what, Johnny? You win! Congratulations! I'm sure you're hurting, but guess what? You still win! Hey, the crowd goes wild! Well, not really, but there's one for you, Johnny. You deserved it. That was awesome. I already went to the Boneyard match. I thought it was very good. There were a lot of people asking in our groups, on Facebook and on our Twitter, like, what exactly is a Boneyard match? And I'm trying to tell people it's essentially Buried Alive, but they're too PG to say Buried Alive. So now it's a Boneyard match. And it was, but there was so much more added to it with the production and the pyro and the druids and just everything. And it was just mwah. I can't tell you how much I enjoyed that match, regardless of whether it was spoofed or not. The only thing that stuck out to me in a negative way, and you can say what you want about it, but Shayna Baszler losing to Becky Lynch blew my mind. It's like, are you telling me that honestly you're going to keep this title on Becky after a year, after Shayna has run through and been so dominant since she got to the main roster? I mean, do we not remember her choking everybody out and brutalizing everybody in an Elimination Chamber match? I do. Taking some weird bite out of the back of Becky's neck, just beating the hell out of everybody leading up to that. And then she gets there and she loses. Now, it wasn't a definitive victory. It wasn't like Becky beat the crap out of her, but it's still a loss. And it gave me those flashbacks to a few years ago when Asuka was coming up from NXT, undefeated, won the Royal Rumble, had been dominant, running through every woman she came across. And then she gets to WrestleMania, she gets to Charlotte Flair, and there's your first loss. And things didn't work out very well for her after that match. And nobody at that point was more deserving of being like the female Goldberg, undefeated champion in the women's division than Asuka. She had rolled through everybody on NXT, was dominating the main roster, won the Royal Rumble. Everything you put this woman in, she shined. And then you took her moment away, and her career just kind of, even last night, losing the women's tag titles with the Kabuki Warriors to Bliss and Cross. Great match. Wonderful match. Nice to see a little more of you, Nikki, to be honest. I didn't know she had it like that. I was like, whoo. But seriously, great match. And but still, it just seemed to derail Asuka. I'm afraid that's what's going to happen to Shayna. But again, there's always two sides to a story. And, like with things being the way they are, with coronavirus, with reports of WWE shutting down, maybe they just didn't want to put the title on Shayna yet. Maybe they wanted to wait till they could get back into the groove of things and get a crowd into an arena or get to SummerSlam, like I said, and then maybe do it. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed because I started out with Shayna Baszler like, I don't know about this girl. And the more I watched her, the more I kind of fell for it. And I thought, wow, this is a great worker. This is a legitimate badass. This girl can come up and dominate. And I thought we were going to see the beginning of that at the Royal Rumble. She loses to Charlotte, and that got me a little upset. Then when it came back and she got into a WrestleMania match with Becky Lynch and dominated everyone, I thought, okay, cool, bump in the road, here we go. And then this happens. It's like, what do you have against Shayna? If you were pushing the hell out of Ronda Rousey, who wasn't even in UFC as long or made as much of an impact as Baszler, and you were willing to strap a title on her, even though she walked out on you less than a year later, why would you make someone like Shayna, who has been just as dominant but more devoted, lose? It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I'm hoping it straightens itself out in the wash, somewhere down the road. We'll see. But let's get into the next question. I think I pretty much covered all of that one. Looking more boneyard match stuff, sometimes. I'm sorry, y'all. That's terrible. I just saw a meme with Samoa Joe and an ear-to-ear grin, and at the top, all it says is, when Styles is dead, but Wendy is now single, and he's just smiling, just, how you doing? It's like, no, don't do that. That's horrible. It's funny, but it's horrible. Sorry. Let's see. Raise your hand. More Braun Strowman. A lot of Braun Strowman. This is that's Ring of Honor. I don't want to get too many unrelated WrestleMania topics. I guess we'll move into day 2 because I'm about 17 minutes into this, and I don't want it to be too long. This is basically a test of Top Rope's emergency broadcast system. So if you're watching this is not a drill. It's more of a first. There's a lot to look forward to on tonight's card. I know pre-show's kicking off at 6, main card at 7. I think it's tough to actually pick the one match that I'm most looking forward to. If I had to, I'd probably say the last man standing match between Randy Orton and Edge. The reason I kind of took a minute and thought about it was because I think with this match, it's either going to be one side of the spectrum or the other. Like, we're going to love it or we're going to hate it. It's going to be either Goldberg versus Strowman or Boneyard match, if you get my drift. Like, I'm having trouble putting it together in my mind. Like, how are you going to do a last man standing match in the PC? I guess it would kind of be like Ciampa and Gargano about a month ago, throwing weights at one another and diving off the perch, that kind of thing. And not only that, Edge came back for one Rumble, and then he's been sitting since. Randy's an in-ring competitor, pretty solid in-ring competitor, but even lately he hasn't been doing a whole lot of fighting. I think the last thing he did in the ring was RKO Beth Phoenix. I guess that's impressive for a tool. I don't, go figure with that. So this match could either be really damn good and have you on the edge of your seat, or really bad. I don't think there's going to be any like in between. Like, nobody's going to say that match, it was all right. And I'm interested to see after the Boneyard match, do they take that and use some kind of variation of that in the Funhouse match with Bray Wyatt and John Cena? And is this going to be like Bray's moment to come back and look strong and possibly get a title opportunity somewhere down the line? Or is this another one of those like John Cena golden shovel moments? Because we all know. We all know. It's happened before. It could happen again. And just the dynamic of the match, like, you don't know how it's going to go. It could be as good as instead of like the Boneyard match, or it could be like House of Horrors Part 2. And who liked that match with Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt? The build to it was amazing. The match itself was awful. I mean, it sucked out loud. Like PowerPoint maggots on a wrestling ring suck. Coronavirus suck. That low, that level. So that's another one that's kind of like interesting to me. And Brock versus Drew obviously it could be a big moment. I'm hoping it's a big moment. I think everybody knows what Drew McIntyre has had to go through in his career. And if you haven't, if you stuck around after WrestleMania last night, they did a whole chronicle on him where he told you this is what I had to go through. And so, you know, I'm happy that he has this opportunity finally. I'm hoping this is the moment for Drew, because everything he talked about, I watched unfold. I kind of dug him when he first debuted. I thought he had a little ways to go, but WWE, you know, didn't really utilize him properly or give him the tools. And he went back to the independents. He came back to Impact, and he really changed himself completely. He changed the way he, you know, did things in a ring. He changed the way he talked. He changed the way he looked. He grew up. He learned. And when he got back to NXT, he was dominant. And, you know, like Culk said from our wrestling perspective, how cool would it be if we have this moment at WrestleMania tonight where history will repeat itself? Like Drew wins the WWE Championship. He's holding it up in the middle of a ring, and all of a sudden the Undisputed Era come out, lay him out like they did at TakeOver, and stand over him with Adam Cole holding the WWE Championship. That would be an awesome moment. So I'm really hoping for Drew. I'm really hoping. It's nothing against Brock. I mean, I'm kind of tired of the part-timers with titles, but Brock is still relevant. He's not Goldberg either. I'm not going to put him in that category. He can still kind of go. He's got more than one move and 5 minutes in him. So he's not Goldberg either. I've enjoyed some of his stuff lately, but I just think it's Drew McIntyre's time, y'all. I mean, I know a lot of you probably do. I'm one of you. So it just really seems like it's Drew McIntyre's time at this point. And hopefully that's how things work out. Now, I'm pretty sure that's all I got. And I don't have a whole lot more questions or comments or anything else. So if I get something in the meantime, maybe I'll stick around. But for now, I just want to say a few more things before this all wraps up and I get the hell up out of here. First and foremost, I want to thank Culk from Our Wrestling Perspective for coming on and doing our WrestleMania crossover episode with us. We had a ball. We will do it again. I think I came up with a title for it long after it published, but you know, I enjoyed the Our Perspective from the Top Rope episode. Not just a bald hat rack, my friend. And hopefully we'll do that again. I want to give a shout out again to Evil Evan. If you haven't yet, please go subscribe to Our Wrestling Perspective right here on YouTube, to the Real Wrestling Community right here on YouTube. You will see a lot of Evil Evan's feeds. He's a funny guy. Check him out too. And if you're subscribed to us and you're wondering where you can find us on social media, just go to Facebook, search for Top Rope Wrestling Talk. We'll pop right up. We're a public group. You can come in, post whatever you want, as long as it's wrestling related. Just, you know, enjoy wrestling. Be good to the other members. If they're talking about something you don't like, just let them have it. Find something you do. We talk about everything, and I mean everything. If you're watching it, there's somebody or a group of somebody's in our group that know about it. So you don't have to worry about being bogged down with like, oh, you watch AEW and I think it sucks, because people are going to be talking about WWE, Impact, MLW, you know, PCW, PPW, you name it, ROH, you name it. We talk about it. Come on, find us. You'll see posts where we will ask you for questions for an upcoming episode. We've got a lot of prediction forms for WrestleMania where we hand out our group titles. We're in the middle of that right now. Your boy himself is a 14-time group champion. So like me and the game are like on the same level. It's South Philly Sycho, Triple H right there. Not really. But, kayfabe. Suspend that belief, fellas, ladies. You know what I'm saying. And, of course, you can find us on Twitter at Top Rope WT. We have a lot of cool followers there, too. There's a lot of podcasts. Shout out to Eye Pokes and Headlocks. Shout out to GC Vision. Cool live stream yesterday. Shout out to the Clark Street Podcast, who gave us a shout out. Devin and the Feast. Don't think I didn't hear it. I didn't see it. I loved it. Those guys are great. You can find them all on our Twitter account. Follow them too. Listen to them too. There's a lot of time to kill right now during all this. One of the reasons that I'm doing this in the first place. We have plenty of content on our channel here. So does Our Wrestling Perspective, Clark Street, all the people I just mentioned. Find them, search them out here or on your favorite podcast platforms, or just come to our Twitter, look at our followers. You're going to see them, follow them. Their links are on their Twitter feeds or pages. So plenty for you to, listen to and keep up with and get interactive with while you're just like me sitting around the house because you got no place to go. And of course, as far as podcast platforms, which I just mentioned, we are damn near everywhere podcasts are enjoyed. And if you don't see what your favorite platform, tell one of us. I'll get cracking on it. In the meantime, there's a place for one-stop shopping. You can get all our episodes, all our platforms in one spot. And that's by going to anchor.fm/TRWT. Kind of like my lawyer/father. It's anchor.fm/TRWT. And our website will pop up. You're going to see all our episodes. Then at the top of the page, you're going to see all our platforms. Click on one of the links to your favorite one, Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, Google, iHeartRadio. The list goes on and on. Just click on the icon. It'll bring you straight to your favorite platform. And there we are. And you can listen to us anywhere, at home, in the car. Even if you're essential and you're working someplace where you can stick some headphones in, pop us on. Let us entertain you while you're out there doing something that matters to people like me and everyone else. If you're essential, we need you. So let us give you a little bit of help while you're at your job. Let us give you a little bit of fun while you're at your job. Let us give you something to enjoy in general. So from everybody involved with Top Rope Wrestling Talk, and especially from me, the one, the only, the jack of all trades, the master of absolutely none, the South Philly Sycho, your man Dom. Thanks for showing up, and hopefully we'll catch you tomorrow, next week. I'm not sure when it's coming, but I can guarantee you it's coming. Enjoy WrestleMania tonight. Have fun. Enjoy wrestling. See you soon. Peace.